Soon after the trials of Lara of Lys's brothers, and the hand's justice had been delivered, the lords assembled for the trials began to depart, each back to their own seat. Soon after, life resumed as it was before in King's Landing, under the new Council of Regents and the King's new hand, Tormund, though more the latter than the former. The gods chose our new regents, Mushroom observed, and it would seem that the gods are just as thick as lords are. For once, it seemed like Mushroom was not wholly wrong in this. Lord Stackspear loved the hawk, Lord Merryweather loved to feast, and Lord Grandison loved to sleep, and each man thought the other two were fools. But in the end, it made no matter, for Tormund proved to be an honest and able hand, of whom it was rightly said that he was brisk and gluttonous, but also fair. King Aegon never warmed to him, but not to the extent of his mislike of his former hand, Unwin Peak. As most knew it, it was very much true that his grace did not have a trusting nature, and the events of the past year and the attempt on his life had only served to deepen his suspicions and make King Aegon even more aloof. Nor in truth could it be claimed that Lord Torrhen had much regard for the king on a personal level, who he referred to as that sullen boy. When writing to his daughters in White Harbour, Lord Manderley did become fond of Prince Viserys, however, with the prince finding lots of common ground with the Northmen, and it was also noted the hand doted on Queen Daenerys as well. Though the Northmen's regency was comparatively short, it was far from uneventful. As the regency period of King Aegon III teaches us, a lot can happen in a very short space of time. With the considerable help of the Gilded Falcon, Isambard Arryn, Manderley enacted a major reform of taxes of the like that had not been seen since the days of the old King Jaehaerys, providing more income for the crown, and also some relief for those who could prove they had suffered losses from the plundering of the Rogar Bank, with this tax relief being applied equally, no matter if you were a high lord or a common trader. If you could prove you lost money to the bank, the crown could be of assistance. With the help of the Lord Commander, he brought the Kingsguard back up to 7 once again, bestowing white cloaks upon Sir Edmund Warwick, Sir Dennis Whitford, and Sir Argamore Cobb, to fill the places of Marston Waters, Mervyn Flowers, and Armory Peak, who had died during the secret siege of Maegor's Holdfast. He formally withdrew the pact that Alyn Velaryon, the Oakenfist, had signed to secure the release of Prince Viserys, on the grounds that the agreements had been made with not the free city of Lys itself, but with House Rogar, which could no longer be said to exist, at least in the same form. However, there were still those in Lys, even to this day, that dispute this claim, with Sir Garth Long taking his place within the Night's Watch at the war the Red Keep had need for a new master at arms. Lord Manderley appointed a fine young swordsman named Lucas Lothston, the grandson of a hedge knight. Sir Lucas was a patient teacher who soon became a favourite with Prince Viserys, and even won a certain grudging respect from King Aegon. It was noted in court records that Viserys' skill at arms improved greatly under the eye of Sir Lucas. To fill the position of the Lord Confessor, Torrhen Manderley tapped Maester Rowley, a fresh-faced youth newly arrived from Old Town, where he studied under Archmaester Senderman, reputedly the wisest healer in the history of Westeros. It was Grandmaster Munkin who urged that Rowley be appointed. A man who knows how to ease pain will also know how to inflict it, he told the Hand. But it is also important that we have a Lord Confessor who sees his work as a duty and not a pleasure, and knows the limits the human body can endure, unlike our previous Lord Confessor. Once all the vacant positions in King Aegon's court had been filled, soon after, on the eve of Smith's Day, Lara of Lys gave Prince Viserys a second son, a large and lusty boy the prince named Aemon. A huge feast was held to celebrate, and all rejoiced at the birth of this new prince, save, may perhaps, for his year-and-a-half-old brother, Aegon, who was discovered hitting the babe with a dragon's egg that had been placed inside his cradle. No harm was done, for Aemon's howls soon brought Lady Lara running to disarm and discipline her eldest son, but many at court took this to be a very bad omen, and whispers soon began to spread around the corridors of the Red Keep. Soon thereafter, Lord Alan Oakenfist once again grew restless in the same manner his famous grandsire, Corlys Velaryon, once had, and began to make plans for the second of his 6 great voyages. The Velaryons had entrusted most of their gold to Lothar Rogar, and lost more than half of their wealth in consequence when their bank collapsed. While they did take advantage of the crown's new tax relief, the amount of gold lost would surely turn the stomach of any man. To try and restore their fortunes, Lord Alan assembled a large fleet of merchantmen with a dozen of his war galleys to guard them, intending to sail to Old Volantis by way of Pentos, Tyrosh, and Lys, visiting Dorne on the way home. It was said that his wife, Lady Baela Targaryen, quarrelled with him badly before the voyage, and there was suggestion she would not be present at the docks to see her husband off, a husband whom she would not see again for many long months. For Lady Baela was the blood of the dragon after all, and quick to anger, and had heard too much talk from her lord husband about Princess Alejandra of Dawn, and questioned his need to remain at Sunspear, or even stop there at all. Yet in the end they reconciled, just before Alyn set off, as they always did. The fleet set sail at mid-year, led by the Oakenfist in a galley he named Bold Marilda after his mother. Lady Baela, meanwhile, remained on Driftmark, with Lord Alyn's second child growing inside her.